What is up, everybody, and welcome back to your favorite place to talk movies. I'm your host, Luce, and this is Real Talk Off Script. So we back today with another episode. I got a couple of topics I want to get into today. I do got one review that we gonna start off the top of the show with, and of course that's for The Devil Wears Prada 2. I told you guys I was gonna go out and see it tonight, and I actually just got home from seeing it. So I'm gonna give y'all a review for that, and I got two more topics I'm gonna get into, but we'll get around to that when we get to it. So like I said, I'm going to start the show off with our review for The Devil Wears Prada 2. So, kind of similar to the Michael movie that I saw last week and gave you guys a review for. Once again, the crowd showed up and showed out. You know, they came fitted, they came suited. I felt that was only right because we don't want to come we don't want to come half stepping to come see a movie about Miranda and how everything she does in the fashion industry. So we wanted to make sure we showed up and showed out, and we definitely did. There's a lot of people there. I think this movie's going to do really good. Especially with Michael, being out the same weekend as well. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later too in another one of our topics. But yeah, people definitely showed out, and I can definitely see this movie making a whole bunch of money. And I'm just excited to see how the people take to it. But let's get into the review. So I'm going to say the movie is definitely more of the same. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I definitely mean that in a good way. It's more of the same. So we really pick up not where we left off, because it obviously picks up 20 years later. We actually are 20 years to the actual release of the first Devil Wears Prada, which is crazy. And I know I was a kid when that movie came out, but it still feels like it wasn't as long as it would. Because the first one came out in 2006, and they kind of allude to that in the movie too. But the movie is definitely more of the same. Like I said, in a good way. If you enjoyed the characters from the first movie, if you enjoyed some of the story beats, I would say as well from the first movie, this one definitely gives you a lot of similar story beats. I should say it's a real familiar movie, especially if you've seen the first one. Now I will say that I've told you guys before, I did see the first Devil Wears Prada like kind of recent for the first time. It was maybe a month ago, maybe a month and some change now since I've seen the first one. But I kind of enjoyed it better because it was fresh for me. I had just seen it for the first time like a month ago. So leading into this, I still remembered a lot of the story from the first one. So I feel like that kind of eased, myself into it. I don't know how somebody would feel if maybe they haven't seen the first one or just haven't seen it in a while. But it definitely I felt like it gave me a leg up, that is, seeing it for the first time recently. But like I said, there are a lot of similar story beats from the first one that they kind of touch on in this one too. But I also feel like they added just enough to make it feel fresh. So if you are coming back into it as a fan of the series, well, I guess we can call it a series now, but a fan of the original movie and coming into this one, like I said, you're definitely going to feel like I've been here before, but it feels, I would say, just me personally, because I told you guys I really enjoyed seeing the first movie. But just for me personally, being able to spend more time with the characters, regardless of, whatever they were getting into or problems they were trying to solve with the company or just with themselves internally, I enjoyed it more because I liked a lot of the characters. Like, for instance, Stanley Tucci's character, Nigel is his name. That's probably my favorite character next to Miranda in both of the movies. And I definitely feel like he got an arc in this movie that they kind of hinted at in the first one. I feel like it kind of had a full circle moment in this one. I love that for the character, and I loved it in the movie as well. But if you enjoy, like I said, if you enjoyed the characters from the first movie, I don't think there's any character assassinations in this one. You kind of get what you expect. Miranda is going to be Miranda. Stanley Tucci's character, Nigel, is going to be Nigel. Like it's kind of like the same thing. But like I said, they added just enough to make it feel fresh. I don't know how many people are actually watching with new eyes. I know I did allude to, just my thinking on it, that with this movie being 20 years, set 20 years after, and actually releasing 20 years after the original, I do feel like there's probably a lot of fans that, of course, weren't old enough to go see the first one in theaters when it came out, that would, of course, be there for this one, alongside the people who were old enough when the first one came out and went to see it, who are definitely coming back to see the sequel because they loved it as well. So I don't know, as far as the fans who are coming in with new eyes, because even though I'm new to the series, I don't know how many more people that this movie is gonna get or draw in, I should say. So I don't know how much of a new crowd is gonna be who's never seen either of the first ones or anything like that. I think it's gonna be a lot of returning people or people who just like myself saw the movie way later, the first one that is, way later, and now I'm coming to the theater to spend my money on the second one. So I don't know if this movie is going to be that much of a draw to just get brand new people who've never seen either one of them. And if they do come in and see it, I don't know if this movie, I don't know if it's going to scratch the itch that they may be looking for. But I will say for sure, 100%, if you are a fan of the first one, you're going to love this one. That's how I feel about it. And there's really no other way for me to put it. It's essentially the same movie repackaged, but with a couple of extra little things here and there, and even a couple of twists that I maybe to somebody else probably saw coming a mile away, but I was a little surprised with a couple of the twists in the movies, and I was satisfied with how that kind of played out in the movie. I'll just say that and leave it at that. I don't want to spoil anything. But this is definitely a movie I'll suggest. Like I told you guys, I'm not doing scores for movies. I'm just going to tell you whether I would suggest it or not. I would definitely suggest this movie. I definitely enjoyed it. I wouldn't go as far as to say this is one you got to rush out to go see. Kind of like I said with Michael, I said, hey, go see this now. I don't necessarily feel that way with this one, but I will say if you are interested in seeing it, or if you enjoyed the first one, I would 100% say you should go out and check this one out. I think you would like it as well. But that's my review for The Devil Wears Prada 2. But enough how I feel about it. You always know I'm going to ask you guys. I want to know how you guys feel about it. So go down in the comments. Let me know if this a movie that you want to go give a try. You want to go see this opening weekend. Maybe wait till next week or a Tuesday when it's half off or however much cheaper it is. I just want to know if you guys are interested in seeing this like I was, and if you plan on going to see it. But that's my review for The Devil Wears Prada 2. So I'm going to move on to my next topic. So my next topic is about this one. So there seems to be a pattern with my last couple of episodes. The internet is ablaze again. The internet is ablaze this time because there was a Resident Evil trailer that was just released. I told you guys about, what they showed at CinemaCon as far as the new Resident Evil movie. I think, 2-3 weeks ago now? Whenever that was. I told you guys that from what they said on stage when they were talking about the Resident Evil movie at the panel, they pretty much explained to, the people that were there at CinemaCon that this movie is supposed to be supposedly closer to the game than the last couple of movies were, or the first batch of movies with Alice and all those other people or whatever. It's supposed to be closer to the games than those movies were, and after seeing this trailer, that does not look like the case. And I told you guys that when I was watching and reading the CinemaCon coverage in real time, because of course I wasn't able to go, so I had to pretty much listen to everybody else who was there and listen to how they broke stuff down. But somebody who was a real big Resident Evil fan, they saw the footage, and I can't confirm or deny if the same trailer that we got is what they were shown at CinemaCon. I don't know. I had to go look that up just to confirm or deny that. But to me, it sounds like they were showed at least similar things. I don't know if they divulged a little bit more there or not, but from what I heard from somebody who was a big Resident Evil fan who was at CinemaCon, they said that it wasn't close enough to the game to their liking, which I was fine with until I saw it myself. So I will say that this trailer, just from what I was looking at, first off, it was not what I expected, like in any way, shape, or form. I was not expecting what I saw in the trailer. I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because of course I haven't seen the movie yet. So I don't really have any opinion. I can only go off of what they showed in the trailer. I'll say I was expecting one thing and definitely got another. I'm trying to tread lightly on this one because I don't really. When I first saw the trailer, I was like, "Get this shit. I'm cool on this. I don't need to see this. I'm straight." But the more I watch the trailer, I've probably watched it a good maybe 5 or 6 times now. I'm slowly starting to come around to Zach Cregger, who's the director. I'm slowly starting to come around to his vision for the movie. I know I was expecting one thing because that's what we were told, at least not what they were told at CinemaCon, and then the people who were at CinemaCon told us it was a telephone thing. But I was expecting to see something that was closer to the games. Like I've said before, all the other movies that we've got in the past was essentially just a bunch of, it was like Fast and the Furious, but you put a Resident Evil tagline on it. Like it was too crazy and too out there, which sounds like a lot because we're talking about Resident Evil, which is already crazy and out there. But those movies is just like, it never scratched the Resident Evil itch for me. That's why I never really could gravitate towards them. Like maybe some of the other fans on the internet could. It just was never really my thing. I just stick to the game. So I was hoping that this new movie from Zach Cregger, who made Barbarian and Weapons and all those movies, I was hoping that, with him being a good well, not a good, a big Resident Evil fan like he says he is, I was expecting to see something closer to the games, but it looks like that's not what we're getting. So, and I know a lot of people on the internet just saying, he's just making a generic horror movie and putting the Resident Evil title on top of it. I can definitely understand why people are saying that. And as a big Resident Evil fan myself, I won't say I feel let down, because like I said, we got one teaser trailer. Like it could be so much more in this movie that we haven't seen yet, because we just got a teaser trailer, and this movie doesn't come out until October, I think. So I would expect that we're going to see way more coming from this. But I don't know. Part of me is like, I'm really interested. I am curious to see how this plays out. But another part of me kind of sides with the rest of the internet, because like I said, we've gotten, what, 6, 7 Resident Evil movies, and none of them really feel like anything from the games. So if you're telling us you're going to reboot it, and you're going to take it back to Raccoon City, which is where the original, everything in the original Resident Evil went down, of course, us fans are going to expect this to be like, okay, so we're getting kind of back to the grounded more. I won't say I expected like the mansion from the original Resident Evil movie to be the setting or anything like that. But if you tell us we're going back to Raccoon City, we're expecting a certain feel. We're expecting, certain characters, certain zombie types, or whatever the case may be. Like in this trailer, if you guys haven't seen it yet, like I don't think I really remember seeing any normal zombies the way that you're expecting from the first couple of Resident Evil movies. Like there's one scene where there's like this big fat blob looking dude that kind of remind me of like the what's the guy's name, the leader of the Harkonnen from Dune, like the big fat ashy looking dude. It's something like that in the trailer. It's like, what the fuck, like what the fuck is this? Is this just a generic horror movie and you put the Resident Evil title on it, or is this Resident Evil? So I'm gonna give this one a chance. I will for sure give this one a chance. I'm a big Resident Evil fan, so I feel like me not being able to do that is sacrilegious. Like I gotta give, and Zach Cregger, he's proven himself. I mean, I seen a little bit of Barbarian. I definitely get the hype about that one. I haven't seen Weapons yet. That is another movie I am gonna get around to watching whenever I get the time. But I feel like he's put out enough good movies that I feel like we should just give him a chance. And if he's saying he's a big Resident Evil fan as well, let's just get this shit a shot. I mean, it can't be any worse than the other Resident Evil movies, because like I keep saying, I am not a fan of those movies. I do like the third one, which is kind of cool. I think it's the third one. It's either the second one or the third one in the series. Whichever one has Mike Epps in it, and the Nemesis. That one is pretty cool. I'm not too mad at that one. But I am a little bummed out that I'm not going to say I was expecting Chris or Leon or Jill or any of that, but I just was expecting more of a normal Resident Evil feel. And I know a lot of the talk on the internet was like, oh well, we've had other like Resident Evil Biohazard or Resident Evil 7, the video game. That one didn't have main line characters in it, and you guys loved that one as well. I was like, yeah, but that was cool because we already got 6 games, that came out before that one that we got our Resident Evil itch scratched. So we were fine when Biohazard came out and it totally switched on its head because it was time. But as far as the movies, we still haven't got a Resident Evil movie that we really want and I would say need. So I can see why a lot of people are bummed, and I understand, but I think people are probably going a little too hard on the internet, which tends to happen. I mean, the same thing happened when the Super Mario Galaxy movie came out and everybody just panned it for whatever reason. So I definitely understand. This one, I'm kind of in the middle. Like I am a little bummed out, but I am interested enough after seeing the trailer that I don't mind Zach Cregger switching up a little bit. So, and I saw a couple of things in the trailer that kind of hinted at, okay, so we got a little, weapon progression. I can see him going from the pistol to getting the shotgun, looking for shotgun shells and shit like that. Just kind of like things that you're used to in the game. So I see he kind of, hit on some of the spots that you kind of got to hit on for a Resident Evil movie. But that's enough of me rambling about it. I'd like to hear what you guys think about that as well. If you've been seeing any of the backlash on the internet regarding that new Resident Evil trailer, I really want to know what you guys think about it, because it seems so split down the middle on the internet. I dead ass don't know how this movie is going to do once it comes out. Even though this is one of the movies I was interested in, I just feel like the backlash has been so negative for this movie so far that like the couple of positive things that I do see about people on the internet is like the same two things, like, oh, they switched it up in this game, they switched it up in that game, and I don't really hear any other positive opinions on the internet regarding it. But like I said, I am curious to hear what you guys think about it. If you had an opinion regarding that, go down in the comments and let me know what you think. All right, so now that topic is down, I do have one more topic I want to get into. It'll probably be a quick one. I don't think this one be too long. But I did want to let you guys know that the Michael biopic, which I have spoken about a couple of times, I even told you guys that I think this is going to be one of the bigger movies of the year as far as the box office goes. And so far, so good. It officially crosses, as of today, I think. Today's Friday that I'm recording this, but as of today, it looks like Michael has officially crossed $300 million worldwide, and that's in 1 week. I mean, it's been out officially for a week, and it's already hit 300 million. And with that milestone, it does officially make it the second biggest musical biopic of all time. And that moves past Elvis. Elvis held the spot previously, and now Michael does, which says a lot. Because I mean, like I just said, the movie has only been out for a week, and it's already second place as far as all time musical biopics. And for y'all who may not know what's number one is Bohemian Rhapsody. And I know for sure it's I know for sure that movie made close to a billion, so it was 900 million, something like that. I don't remember the exact number, but I am very curious. I am curious to see. I don't. If I had to bet my money on it, I don't know if I can bet that it's gonna pass Bohemian Rhapsody. But if it did, I would not be surprised in any way, shape, or form. But the only reason why I don't think, I won't say I don't think. I would just be hesitant to say it's gonna pass Bohemian Rhapsody, and it's only because The Devil Wears Prada 2 just came out. I think that's gonna take a big chunk away from what the movie potentially could have made. But at the same time, like I usually tell you guys, just from me, talking movies with people that I'm close to, or friends, or family, or whatever the case may be, there's a lot of people that still hasn't seen the movie. So with it making $300 million in a week, there's still so many people who I've talked to regarding that movie who still has not seen that shit. So I do think even with The Devil Wears Prada 2 coming out this weekend, I will say that movie, I've explained it to you guys before, but if you don't remember, I explained the 4 quadrant movie thing to you guys, and that's people that's under 25, over 25, the male audience, and the female audience. I don't think The Devil Wears Prada 2 is a 4 quadrant movie, just me personally, because I don't think there's a lot of, kids. There's not a lot of 10-year-olds that's gonna want to see The Devil Wears Prada 2, and there's also not a lot of men that would want to see that movie as well. So I don't personally think The Devil Wears Prada 2 is a 4 quadrant movie, but I do think the fan base of that movie is wide and vast enough that it could definitely take away a lot of dollars from the Michael movie. But I do believe that the Michael movie is a 4 quadrant movie because, for one, I was definitely a little ass kid when I had a big thing, a major thing for Michael Jackson. I was a big fan. I used to want to do all the moves and all that shit, trying to moonwalk around the house with my socks and all that. That was me as a kid. So if there was a movie about him out as a kid, I'd want to see it. As an adult, I did see it and wanted to see it. As a male, I want to see it. So it's already 3 quadrants just with me personally. And you don't think it's a lot of people that think the same way that I think? There are. And then you add in the women audience as well. I mean, who doesn't love Michael Jackson? So that, with that being a 4 quadrant movie, I still think it's going to make up a lot of that traction that it may have had taken away from it with The Devil Wears Prada 2 coming out. But with The Devil Wears 2, The Devil Wears 2 Pradas, The Devil Wears Prada 2 coming out, I still think, regardless, it's going to take money away from Michael. And I feel like that may be the major thing that may make it so it does not pass Bohemian Rhapsody. But you never know. And I do believe, just with, like I said, more and more people saying that, I haven't seen it yet. So this weekend will really be telling. But with it passing $300 million as of today, I do think that there's a high chance that this movie could at least get close to Bohemian Rhapsody. But the more I think about it, I'm like, Michael came out last week. You got The Devil Wears Prada 2 coming out this week. And then next week you got Mortal Kombat 2. And I believe there's another movie. I think there's another movie that comes out the following week as well. So it's like the further we get into May, and everybody knows May really kicks off the summer blockbuster time. It's the first month. So the further and deeper we get into May, Michael's just going to have more and more competition. So we're going to really see what kind of feat this movie really has. Even though I think it may be able to take, because I don't like, once again, Mortal Kombat 2 is not a 4 quadrant movie. So I don't think that movie is going to make a shit ton. I don't think it's going to go crazy at the box office, but I do think it's going to make enough to make it probably, not now I'm thinking about it, I don't think it's gonna actually open at number one that week. I think it'll still be between. I think it can open at number two, but I don't think it's gonna open at number one at the box office when it comes out. But even still, like I said, with that not being a four quadrant movie and the Devil Wears Prada 2 not being a four quadrant movie, I still think a lot of people or enough people would want to see either one of those movies that's gonna just take more and more away from Michael. But if Michael had like an open runway, if it came out like early March or something like that, I think for shit sure it would have passed Bohemian Rhapsody. But right now with so many big movies about to come out, I just don't see it. You still got Super Mario making a shit ton of money. You still got Project Hail Mary. They actually extended the release window for that, so now that's gonna get 90 plus days in the box office. So like, it's just so many movies that's gonna be out at one time. I think they're all gonna cannibalize each other a little bit, but I also think it's gonna be enough people that just, once you see one good movie at the movie theaters, you're gonna want to keep going back. And with the Devil Wears Prada 2 being pretty good, Michael being very good, I'm hearing the Mortal Kombat 2 movie is pretty good from what I'm hearing. So like, if there's a Project Hail Mary, it speaks for itself. So with so many good movies being out at the same time, I think that Michael could possibly still get pretty close to Bohemian Rhapsody. But it's going to be tough. And if we talking about passing it, it's going to be even tougher. So I guess we'll see. But for a lot of you guys who hasn't seen it yet, you've definitely been reaching out to me and let me know that you guys were excited. I didn't get a crazy amount of views on my Michael review on the last video, but even a couple of people that did watch said that just from hearing how I felt about it, that they wanted to go see it even more, and they haven't seen it yet. So I think Michael does have a good chance of maybe taking that top spot of the biggest musical biopic of all time. But we'll see. The jury is still out. But that's all I had to talk about for today. I didn't have too much to touch on. Once again, I am interested to hear what you guys think about anything that I talked about today. So if you have any, thoughts that you want to add or opinions you want to add, just go down in the comments. Let me know how you guys feel. Or if you have any questions of the day that you want to put in so we can get that topic going again. I will say, I'll repeat it again, if it's a topic that I think is good enough for us to talk about on the show, that is, and it's movie related, then you may hear that on another episode. But that's all I got for today, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. Until next time, peace.